Today on the Small Interview Project, I'm talking to Mr. Bernie Ripoll, who's the federal member for Oxley, and he's also the Parliamentary Secretary for the Treasurer and Small Business. So, Bernie, thank you very much for taking part in the Small Interview Project with me today. It's a great honour for me to have you.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure, Tony. It's a great opportunity for me to come on your particular program and just have a chat with people.
And I really appreciate you taking your time out. It's what's obviously a busy time for you guys. Hard at it in the campaign trials. That's probably a good break for you, actually.
Yeah. This is the more fun part of some of the campaigning that we do, so it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, well, you are the Parliamentary Secretary for Small Business, so tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me a bit about what you do.
All right, well, look, I might start right back and say after school, like a lot of people, I didn't quite finish year 12 and I went and joined the military for a while and came out of there and did an apprenticeship. I'm an electrician by trade.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Look, people often say that politicians don't have a grounding in the community. I actually think we have an incredible grounding and do a lot of different things. Myself, electrician by trade. My dad was an electrician.
Okay.
While I was studying to be an electrician, I also went to night school and did my matriculation. Got accepted into university, went and did a degree after my trade.
Right.
Really interested in people and communities and helping people to have a better life, which is why I got really interested in representing people, and I worked for the State Service Union, representing white and blue-collar workers. I worked mostly in the area of disabilities, and I had a great time doing that. While I was at uni, I also started my own small business with a good mate of mine, and we're just from the ground up. We were good at designing and marketing and trying to promote other people.
Okay.
And so we did that for a few years, and look, it was a small, very small business, micro business, but quite successful. I'm no longer involved with it now, and maybe that's the reason why it's so successful today. But hopefully not. But anyway, my business partner continues the business on, and I think he employs 8 or 9 people. And,
excellent.
It's a great little business. It's in regional Australia, up in Townsville, and
in what area? What's the business?
It's PR, marketing, design, ideas. It's
a give a plug, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a great little business, and it's really trying to help other people in small business.
Oh, that's good. And I guess in the political sense, it's always good to have that grounding and understanding of how small business operates and the challenges and frustrations that people have.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And but I think small business is a little bit like life, or different careers. I tend to treat what I do as an elected representative in my community for 15 years as a small business.
Right.
I employ around 9 to 11 people.
Yep.
I manage and organise dozens and dozens of volunteers on a regular basis. And in the busier periods, like an election campaign, that's in the hundreds.
Yep.
I've got a chief of staff. I've got people who do different things. I have industrial issues like everybody.
Yep.
I have to pay my people wage. I have to look after my staff. I have to manage my time, their time. So...
Yeah, it is a medium-sized business, isn't it, really?
Well, it is, yeah. And look, I'm involved with clients. My clients are my constituents. They come to my door, they knock on the door, and they want a product. I have a product.
Yeah.
We don't sell things. It's not a widget. It's a service.
Yeah, it's a service, yeah.
But you have to understand client relationships. You have to understand service. You have to understand that, I'm the face of my business in the community every day.
Yeah.
And if my staff do a really good job for me, it's a benefit to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they do a bad job, that reflects on me as well. So
it does. You're the brand, aren't you?
Absolutely. But that's like any other small business. Their staff are their number one asset. So I really do get it.
Okay, no, that's good. So tell me a little bit about your role in small business as far as the Parliamentary Secretary role. What's involved in that?
Sure. Well, lots of different things day to day. But look, when Labor got to government in 2007 and through the last 6 years, we've taken small business quite seriously, very seriously, in fact. We've now got the first small business minister in cabinet for a very, very long time. There hasn't been one there for a very long time. And what that means is there's a direct voice, advocating on behalf of small business at the highest level in government.
Right. Yep.
And for the first time, there's a parliamentary secretary for small business. That's me.
Yep.
And I see my role very much as on the ground, talking to small business. I've only been in the role for a short few months.
Okay.
I can tell you what, that in those short few months, I've managed to get around a lot of different representative bodies and talk to small business people and get a really good handle on what are their issues.
So that would take you out of the electoral level?
I see well, it does, because I've been to Sydney, Melbourne, all parts of Canberra, all over the country, regional areas. Look, there's 2 million small businesses in Australia, as we all know.
Yeah.
Impossible to get to each one of them, but you can get to their representative bodies, and you can soon find out what it is that small business are interested in. What are the things that drives them every day? I see my role as being able to represent their voice, represent them in the Parliament, represent them in government, represent them in terms of taking forward some of their ideas and working with them too to make sure that, look, we're not missing things and that we can make appropriate changes. We can, refine things as is necessary.
Okay, that's excellent. Well, that's good, and it's great to have that representation, sort of speaking as a small business as well. So I know that we certainly appreciate that. Look, let me get into my my little questions for you, Bernie, to give you the grilling. Why do you think so many people go into business? Why is there 2 million small businesses in Australia?
Well, there's no right or wrong answer or one. With 2 million, they've all got different.
Absolutely.
But look, what I tend to find in people is that generally small business people are entrepreneurs, they're ideas people, they're risk takers, they also, they're innovators, they're the people that are wanting to do something for themselves. They're people that in essence are buying themselves a job, whether it's lifestyle related, whether it's trying to build something big. A lot of small business people have got a great idea about trying to build something or getting their ideas forward, or whether it's wanting to provide not only employment for themselves, but maybe their family.
Sure.
Or just wanting to be independent. I think a lot of people, and you've got to be a bit of a risk taker and a bit of an entrepreneur because, it's not like a regular job where, there's a pay packet at the end of the week.
No, definitely. It might be none some weeks.
Well, look, some weeks there might be a fantastic pay packet, and some weeks there's no pay packet.
Absolutely.
So there's a bit of risk taking there, and I think it's all of the above. I think small business people really are the great entrepreneurs of the country.
Couldn't agree more. Now, look, you mentioned before that you have been in business yourself. So what was your biggest challenge when you were in business?
I think trying to grow a customer base.
Yep.
You get started, you've got a few ideas, and you might have one or two customers and clients and people you're working with that got you started.
Yep.
But then you soon realise that ain't going to pay the bills.
Sure.
So your biggest challenge then really is to try and grow that. How do I get out there? How do I sell my services or business? How do I contribute more? And where do I want to be in the business chain? Do I want to be a little operator on my own working from home? Or do I want to, am I satisfied with that? A lot of people are.
Yeah, definitely. We'll take over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives them a lifestyle. It gives them, some independence. They're working from home. They can choose their hours. And other people want to grow.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge for business, saying, well, how do I keep growing my business? How do I lock in my customer base?
Yes.
How do I compete? All of those questions. Day-to-day questions, how do I keep my customers? How do I grow my customer base?
It's a common problem, I think, that
one. Well, I think for everybody, that's the real challenge.
Which I guess leads into my next question. That was sort of one of your biggest challenges. But do you think that's probably the biggest challenge that you've seen in all the businesses you've come across, in your sort of new role there? Like, what do you think is the biggest challenge for business in general?
Sure. Well, I think that's one of them. I think the other is the day-to-day management. How do you manage your business on a day-to-day basis? Do you go out and just make something or do something, or do you go one step beyond that and say, well, how do I grow my business? How do I manage it better? How do I get better at what I do?
Yeah.
And a bit of a surprise to me has been lots of people very willingly saying to me they don't have all the core skills and they'd like to be trained better.
Yeah.
So from a government perspective, is they're saying, well, look, is there some better training out there? Is there some access to information and so forth?
Yeah.
I'd say to them, look, there's tons of information. There's heaps of training available. But like all things in life, it's not how much is out there. It's how do you get to it?
Yeah, and how do you use it?
Yeah, how do you use it? How do you get to it?
Yeah.
And
well,
often
the business.gov.au website's got some awesome resources on there. It's a brilliant site, and that's, I guess a plug for my small business. I've used that many times with clients and for myself, so it's a great resource.
Yeah, look, it is. It's fantastic. I go there myself and have a look. Sometimes you just want to see what's available, see what's around. And it is a fantastic resource. Not everyone knows it's there. Not everyone who knows it's there use it.
Sure.
And not everyone takes the time out in a day or a week to sort of focus on their business and say, well, okay, I'm pretty happy. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But, there might be some challenges around the corner. So how am I going to deal with that? How am I going to grow my business? Do I really understand my business too? I think some people in the good years tend to do well in business and they make money and they may not quite understand where all the money comes from. And then when times get tough, we have a GFC, there's a downturn, people aren't spending as much. They sort of go, well, hang on, how do I manage that? How do I cope with that? So think small business people and business people generally need to be always looking to the future, saying, well, I'm okay this week and this year.
Yep.
What about next year? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, definitely.
What's going to impact on my business?
Yep, excellent. Which probably leads perfectly yet again. It looks like you've seen my questions before. Leads perfectly into the next question is, how do you think people or business owners should actually work on their business versus in their business? Like, how much is the right amount of time to spend on both?
Sure. Look, I'm not sure what the exact answer to that is. I'm not sure, hours versus, on the business, in the business. But the absolute answer is you've got to spend some time on the business. Look, whatever it is. Look, whether it's half an hour, a day, a week, or an hour. Look, whatever it might be, I think people need to make an appropriate decision. So, a good mate of mine runs a really successful small business. He's been doing it for more than 20 years. He mows lawns and he's a landscaper.
Okay.
And he's really clear about where his business needs to be. He doesn't want to employ anyone. He's happy to do it on his own. He's happy, he runs his own truck. He's got his own trail. He's got his own gear. And he's happy to do jobs as is required. I often talk to him about how does he manage it. And he loves it because it gives him a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
He's usually got more work than he can cope with because he's really good at it. And he's really reasonably priced. So he's built up a lot of loyalty over 20 years, and he finds that, good times or bad times, people keep coming back to him.
Yeah.
So he's worked on his business, and he's got it to a level where he's really happy.
Yeah.
He's got a good accountant. He doesn't need much beyond that, and he's really satisfied. So I reckon he's like a really successful model.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but then there are other guys who, might get into a franchise small business. So their challenges are different. They have to be able to work on the business with a partner who is their franchisee.
Yep.
Their franchisor. And others want to continue to grow it. So it's really a decision you've got to make is, where do I want to be in the scheme of things? How big of a small business do I want?
Yep.
And that probably dictates the time required to manage it.
Absolutely.
Advertising, marketing, a bit of PR in the local area.
Yeah.
And do I want to get involved with the community and support the local footy club and advertise there? What do I want to be? How do I want to look? And other people have got some big ideas and they want to become an international business.
Yeah.
So they need to spend a lot of time on the business.
Definitely.
I think the answer is depends where you want to be on the scale.
Yeah, but I think your initial point was right. As long as there's some time spent actually planning and working on the business or in the business, sorry.
Yeah. I think the simple rule would be if you currently just work the business and you spend zero time, you say, I'm just too busy.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably making a mistake.
Yeah, and you've probably just got yourself a job. That's pretty much all it is. Yeah.
And look, if something goes wrong, you're just not going to have time to fix it, or you haven't worked on fixing it before something goes wrong. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think most people would agree. Just put some time aside to working on your business.
As Nike say, just do it, hey? And my last question for you, Bernie, is what advice would you have for somebody who's contemplating going into business?
Well, I think there's no time better than the present.
Yep.
Look, forget the doom and gloom and the pessimism that is around in some quarters.
Yep.
Because, look, it's just not reflected in the data. And I know people don't tend to want to accept that. It's like, no, everything's bad. But, look, it's not. There's plenty of businesses that are growing. There's plenty of businesses doing well. I've had a look at the ABS data to see, well, what's it look like? Well, since 2007 and the GFC, there's actually more businesses in Australia. And an interesting statistic is that there's more small businesses that have grown to larger businesses, actually turning over more money.
Yeah.
So I fully accept the fact that in retail things are a bit tight, and in other areas.
Yes.
But look, if somebody's out there right now and thinking, I'm really good at something, and I work for somebody else, and I want to do it on my own because I reckon I can do either a better job or do it my way, or I've got something really to offer.
Yep.
I'd say, look, of course it's a risk. You need to be in a financial position where you can sort of. You need a startup period. It's going to cost you some money.
Yep.
You're not going to have that regular income of employment, but perhaps it's a good opportunity for people to maybe do a little bit on the weekends, stay at work for a while. Some people are in a financial position where they can take the plunge and go, right, I've spent a year thinking about it, a year doing a marketing plan, a business plan.
Yep.
I know exactly what I'm going to do. I've prepped it up. I'm going to take the leap. The best time is always right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can always say next year, but the problem is next year comes around and you say it'll be next year. My view is do your homework, spend the time, do the research, find out who's competing with you in your local area, talk to your bank manager. Are you able to do this financially? And if you are, go for it, because there's nothing like, I think, that self-satisfaction, that freedom, that independence that you get from running your own business and doing something for yourself.
Couldn't agree more. And one final bonus question for you. Tell me, Labor versus Liberal on the business front.
Well, It's always a case of have a look at what we've done, not just what people talk about.
Yep.
But the reality is we've heard the message, particularly on cash flow and red tape reduction. On cash flow, it's simple. $6,500 right now, instant asset tax write-off,
Yep.
Uncapped, unlimited. As many bits of equipment you buy, we'll support you with an instant asset tax write-off.
Yep.
If you're going to buy a car, $5,000 off the car right now from the federal government.
Yep.
We've tripled the tax-free threshold, $6,000 to $18,000. The majority of small businesses in Australia are actually PAYG. They're sole traders.
Yeah.
It's not a company. They're not a company tax rate
Yep.
payer. They're actually just independent people working themselves. They pay marginal tax rates like anyone else.
Sure.
So we've increased the tax-free threshold. What we've also done is we've just announced that for small businesses under $20 million,
Yep.
If you're paying the BAS quarterly, that's a fair bit of paperwork.
Yep.
We're saying once a year.
Yeah.
Once we can work with people, we can do this once a year. It really relieves the burden.
Sure.
Look, we've got a whole range of other red tape reduction methods in place, in particular for people employing someone. So the superannuation clearinghouse, one-stop shop, give us all your details there. We've extended that program as well.
Okay.
Somebody else will do it on your behalf, so it's really good stuff.
Excellent.
So look, they're just a couple of the things, but we're always looking at making it better and better.
Yeah.
I think if anyone's got any questions or anything at all, just go to business.gov.au. There's so much there.
Absolutely.
Or even moneysmart.gov.au.
Okay. All right, excellent. Bernie, thank you very much for your insights. So it was great to have your time and have your lessons and learnings and everything like that on business. So thanks for taking part in the Small Interview Project.
Tony, thanks very much, and I really enjoyed the format. I reckon getting on Skype and doing something like this is of huge value. So good on you, Tony. Thanks for doing a great job.
Okay, cheers. Thanks, Bernie.
See you, mate. Bye.
Ta.